that's exactly it. And it pretty much coincides with the weather. So it
I'd
is
like to
what it
hear.
is.
I'd like to hear that the looters were using canoes
No, I
and
don't like to hear that, but it's true. I mean, listen, if sometimes you wonder if you want to straighten the country out, you just put it in the hands of the looters. They would seem to have the the ingenuity to do things to commit crimes when nobody else can figure things out.
if you're not ready
Uh,
to commit a crime, hang out with a looter. They're ready.
yeah, but then I think that we do have criminals running the country, so that's to
Hang
be
out with the
tried.
looters. They're ready.
Well, are they any better? Are they any different than the looters?
And Don Jr. No.
Yeah, they're not much different than the looters. They're criminals just the same. All right. Anyway, we welcomed you into the middle of our conversation. He's Michael Knight. I'm New York Vinnie. It's Mikey and Vinnie here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from usually around 10:10, but it can vary. To
It could be 11. It could be noon. It could be middle of the
well,
night.
we're never usually that far off, but just figure yourself for the hour starting somewhere after 10:10. And
And
call
running
your friends.
merrily until we're done.
Yeah, call your friends, and then we go until we run out of things to say.
You bet me $10 you we're going to be on the air on Monday, and here they are. They're both here. You owe me $10.
Well, people don't realize that that's part of our thing. Is we have signed with
Part of our charm.
with one of the gambling services, and they actually run a board that says what time exactly will they hit the air on any given Monday, Wednesday, or Friday morning, and they take action on that. So,
Wouldn't you? Of course. Of course I
yeah,
would.
why wouldn't you?
Well,
Why would?
it was quite a weekend, I'll tell you that. We had a
Yeah.
shooting at Brown University, the monster thing at Bondi Beach, here in LA, in Brentwood, California. Meathead met his end in a sad, undignified way for a great career to come to an end. And his wife, who suffered along with him, it was such a strange story when it started leaking out. Rob Reiner is not the guy that I would imagine being in the headlines today, but there he is. And you mixed it up by at least letting off some of the steam, Vinny, because you and the gang went to a football game yesterday, the Seahawks.
Well,
Of all the
yeah.
things that could go right, and you also got Jorge Polanco.
Yeah.
I want to keep him on my list
Yeah.
too.
We got out of all the things that went on this weekend, and this was as action packed a weekend as I can remember in a long time. There was just so much stuff going down from the moment that the news started breaking about Bondi Beach and that horrible thing, that tragedy down in Australia, to getting home from the game last night, sitting down to write my Christmas cards out, and see if you didn't get a Christmas card from me. There's still hope yet. And my friend texting me and saying, "Isn't that a shame about Rob Reiner?"
Wow.
And I figured that, I don't know, maybe my first thoughts really kind of went to, did he get into an accident? Did he, what happened? Something, and then I jumped on, and it was early enough where the Times didn't even have it. CBS News had it in a one paragraph. There's police have been called to the home of actor, producer, director Rob Reiner and his wife. There is a medical response to that address. That's really all that they had
That's all they
said.
knew for a while.
Say again.
I said that's all they knew for a while. You're right.
Yeah. That was and I guess that was probably about 7:00 last night our time. And then, of course, as the night rolled on, I always go to the New York Times. That's to me the paper of record, and if it's in the Times,
And you find out who's working for the Times on Sunday night, who's
yeah,
slaving at their desk in New York.
exactly. And when I saw it pop up on the Times, not that I don't trust CBS News, but really lately I don't know that I trust any electronic media. Uh,
Plus, CBS News is in play right now, as we know.
yeah, so you just don't know, and I'm not saying that they would put a story out there that Rob Reiner had been injured or murdered or whatever.
But it's not
Uh,
the Tiffany Network anymore.
right, but there's a they've lost a certain amount of credibility. They're not Edward R. Murrow. They're not Walter Cronkite. They're not Eric Severide. Look those names up, kids. Uh, they're just not that network anymore.
They're not Philip Rivers.
But I'm still thinking that CBS isn't going to put anything out there that doesn't, that doesn't have some kind of credibility to it. But I go to the New York Times, and there's just a short paragraph, and then I get an alert about 15 minutes later that Rob Reiner and his wife have been found. It's been confirmed that him and his wife Michelle have been found dead in their home in Brentwood, and so and that was all the details you had for a while until they started.
Some people are still not reporting the angle about the sun. Some people are saying far away from that.
Well, he's been arrested and charged, right? I don't know if he's been charged. He's been arrested. And according to what I've read, he's
person of interest. He's questioned.
I'm just looking to see if there is.
See what LA robbery homicide says.
His father. Yeah, he was arrested late Sunday, and it's not saying much more after that. But I'm sure that and what I hate about this is there's going to be now just a plethora of just falsehoods and bullshit that's going to come across our feeds.
And we would do the same thing about the shooter in Rhode Island, except we don't know anything about him. We don't know who the hell he is, where he went, how he got away, how he pulled this off, what the hell's going on.
Yeah, well, no, and we know much more about Rob Reiner and his wife's death than we do because they actually had detained somebody in Rhode Island, right, and then let him go.
Got to let him go. Got the wrong guy.
They didn't have the right guy. So the police back there are
square one.
Working on that, and hopefully we'll know something, or they'll catch him before he causes any more harm. Nobody really knows motive or anything like that, so you don't know if he's going to show up somewhere else and do some more dastardly stuff.
What goes with Brown?
With this country.
Oh, where do you want me to start? At the top?
Well, yeah. I mean, that is it. I'm convinced that has something to do with. I mean, I don't know if it has something specifically to do with the Rob Reiner case, but it's this anything goes kind of mindset among groups of people in our society that say.
And where do the folks in Australia get their motivation? Father and son kill team.
Well, now I haven't delved as deeply into that as I probably should. I'd planned to kind of sit down but from what I could glean from what I read, it's some kind of terrorist. It's not.
It's an anti-Semitic attack on Jews
Yeah, it's not too much different than what happened 2 years ago
in
in
Pittsburgh.
Israel, except maybe less organized and less.
Except the reaction, the politicians in Australia are saying we're going to change the law, and this is never going to happen again.
Right. Well, but they now again, isn't there strict anti-gun laws already in
They think not strict enough.
Australia? But yeah, obviously not strict enough. But it puts you in that position of, well, why do you deny somebody a permit?
Unless you got the guns illegally. I don't know if they're legal
Yeah,
or not.
that's what we don't know. I mean, more will be revealed, and I'm certainly willing to not sit back, but look and see and try to understand what happened.
There's a series online about Bondi Beach, and it all centers around the lifeguards who work that beach. And I've watched it hundreds of times. Rescues and drunks and fights and everything you can imagine. People stepping on a jellyfish and having to have their medication
thing out. Yeah.
So I'm familiar with that beach where the riptide is, where the lifeguard station is, where all the movable parts are. If you need help, if you're drowning, if you're swept out to sea, if you don't know how to swim and you went in the water anyway. And I felt for those lifeguards because nobody mentioned them, but they're the first line of defense, and everything happens at Bondi Beach. That's quite a adventuresome place.
And what really struck me about what I have read is that the guy who seems to be the hero of the hour at Bondi Beach is a Muslim fruit vendor.
Yep, he's got a fruit stand.
Saw what was going on and jumped into action.
Said, "I'm on it."
Yeah, and tackled one of the gunmen, and
got shot for it.
Yeah, well, if you tackle a gunman, sometimes that happens. And this guy is a hero.
Oh yeah, he did a good job too. If you saw the video, he made things happen quickly.
So luckily, there are still people in this world that will look at a situation like that and not run away from it, but will jump into action without regard for their own health or their own well-being or anything else. They just see a situation and they say, we got to do something about this and do something about it quick. No time to think, just time to act.
No time.
Yeah.
Guess who? The Guess Who from Canada.
So I mean, bless him and what he was able to do, because as we said, he saved countless lives.
We'll never know.
Down there. Now, swinging back up here, so you have the shooting in Rhode Island at Brown University. There was a great movie many, many years ago that I forget if it's called Federal Hill. I think it may be called Federal Hill.
Where the school is?
Where the school is, yeah. And it was about this. It was a kind of a love story, and it was about this group of
aren't they all
lower, working people, and one of the kind of richer people that go to Brown, that tend to go to Brown, and a relationship that they had. I believe it might have been the younger Turturro's acting debut, not John Turturro, but the one that was in NYPD Blue, and his first name is escaping me at the moment.
Me too. Let's call him Ronnie.
Yeah, but he was in that. A guy that I've since become friends with on Facebook, I believe, was in it. Was also in it and had actually a pretty substantial part in it, from what I remember. And I've looked for this movie several times. It doesn't seem to be anywhere that you can find it.
A Jim Jarmusch movie never got distribution.
Yeah, and it came out about the same in that same period as Down by Law, and that had Roberto Benigni, might have been his acting debut or close to it, and Tom Waits as a couple of escaped prisoners. There was somebody else. There was from X, John. He was in that movie as well, and it had a great scene. One of my favorite scenes in the movie of them dancing in a cafe with Irma Thomas singing "It's Raining."
Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah.
Well, check it out. IMDb. You'll find out who's in this movie, and you'll find out where you can see it, and you'll find out other things that we used to know, but we forgot.
Yeah, and anyway, Bobby Koch Toronto is the guy that's one of my friends that was in that movie, and I'll have to shoot him a note, only because, and I only mentioned it for no reason except that it kind of showed at that time, and this was an early '80s movie or middle '80s at least, movie of the class differences in the town of
the townies and the kids who go to school there.
Yeah, you have it's almost like a Goodwill Hunting type of thing where you have, the kids that work at the school, the people that work at the school for the richer people that go to the school.
And Fredo can say, "I'm smart," not like they say.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll certainly be interested in finding out more about that. And
By
then,
the way,
of course, you have
The Godfather was on this weekend, and I saw it on some cable channel. And I said, "I'm just going to duck in and see where they are." And it was Michael getting ready to go to the hospital. That was it. I was there for the whole thing.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I mean, Michael, you should know better than that.
I thought I could control it. I thought I had it under control.
You don't duck into that movie. There's 10 movies in life that you don't duck into. And two of them are the Godfather 1 and the Godfather 2. Casablanca is another movie that you don't just duck into. If you turn it on and it's on, you're in.
Anyway, I saw it again. Kristen and I never said a word. I said, "We'll just look and see what's going on, then we'll go back to football." Nope.
Yeah, it doesn't. So anyway, and then of course, our mentally dysfunctional president
and the dark men around him
on Rob Reiner. And doesn't he have anybody in his life that could just tell him to shut the fuck up?
Nope. It could be Don Jr. or Eric, but they won't talk.
Is there anybody that can just tell him, "Dad, shut the fuck up and don't say anything. Just don't say anything"?
Because his first inclination is to say, "Well, Rob," and then launch into some terrible evisceration of his memory.
Well, and of course, it happened on that the weekend that they decided to CBS decided to give Charlie Kirk's widow. I don't even know how long it was, a half hour, an hour of airtime.
60 minutes.
No, I don't know if it was, but if it was 60 minutes or it was a separate thing where they just interviewed her, and I didn't see it, so I don't really even know what they said.
It doesn't really matter what she said. You know what she was going to say. She said it, and everyone had to hear it.
And so of course the president immediately equated his absolute hate, to Rob Reiner. That Rob Reiner was I'm paraphrasing here.
Did it start with a 2,000-year-old man? Did he not think that was funny?
No. It was basically that he said that Rob Reiner was killed by Trump derangement syndrome.
I see.
And
I wasn't aware of that syndrome.
like I said, is there just anybody that can shut this guy up? It just every day I see him say something, it just makes me hope that when it is his time to go, that it's not an in your sleep type of thing. That it's a long, festering, um,
Painful death.
painful, horrible uh, death, and that they find no way to monetize it.
Can't sell anything, not even T-shirts.
Nothing here to sell. I'm sure that the Sons will try to sell T-shirts with the, Dad's last moment on it. But it's just it, I just I just can't. I mean, I understand that he's a sick, deranged fuck.
We're all suffering for it.
But we're the ones that suffer for his derangement.
Yep.
He doesn't suffer, and we do, and the people that give him license to do the things that he does
And pretend that he's their leader.
don't suffer. Lindsey Graham doesn't suffer. Mitch McConnell doesn't suffer. And I just I look at it and I just I come
Makes you
apart.
rich.
Yeah, I come apart. For him to politicize a murder like this, it's funny. I'm waiting to see now them stopping the football games and the hockey games and stuff and put pictures of Rob Reiner up on the scoreboard, like they did with Charlie Kirk at Yankee Stadium, or flying the flag at half staff at the White House and all the federal buildings like they did for Charlie Kirk.
Who was nothing special. He was just a hateful fuck.
Who, as far as I could see, and I don't give a shit if people like me or don't like me for saying it, that they've built this guy up in the time since he's died to be the second coming of Jesus.
Jesus only came once, I think. He never said he was coming back, but he never showed up.
And I think we all know that he wasn't. He was somebody who fostered a division and separatism and all of the things that got him killed.
Yeah.
All of the things that got him killed. He fought. He set himself up. So I'm sure I'll get tons of people. Anyway, so now the good part of the weekend was, yes, I got to go to a football game yesterday. My first football game.
Well, let's wind it back. Who are your partners in crime?
Well, let's see. We had Rod Long.
That's funny. That's funny right there.
Right there. He was funny, and when he and I get together, it just turns into a piss in your pants laugh riot.
That's nice.
Michael Gastineau.
Mr. Gastineau, the gas man.
Gas man was present and accounted for. The 2024 fan of the year, or 2025 fan of the year, my good friend Norb Kaoli, Norbcam, who does all his video about the Seahawks and stuff. He was there. Terry Fletcher was there. The Seahawks 2024 fan of the year. This guy, I'm forgetting his name now for some reason, but he's a big guy who has a mini-me exact copy of what he's wearing down to the medallions and stuff. And this guy, not the guy, but his little mini-me creeps me out the whole game.
What does the mini-me look like, the face? Is it like a doll face? Or?
It looks like a Cabbage Patch doll.
Yeah, okay.
But this guy looks like a Cabbage Patch doll. So
that's not okay.
Mike Flood was there, who is the a vice president of the Seahawks and was very close to Paul Allen and very cold. And
Did he score a touchdown, by the way?
he did not.
Did anybody?
Nobody that had anything to do with the Seahawks that scored a touchdown.
There were football players there in attendance, though, right? Somebody might have, not necessarily that day, but sooner or later.
Well, I think that what we talked about a little bit on Friday and what I feared would happen actually came to happen. Is that they, I think, looked past this game. And they didn't give the old man enough credit for as often young people do to older people like us.
Well, Philip Rivers was out of the game for 5 years. Is that right? 5 football seasons.
So yeah,
that's a remarkable comeback. I would have picked another quarterback, but that's just me.
And again, Colin Kaepernick got passed over.
and Kaepernick would have been in my top 3.
But it was interesting in that you could see that Rivers did exactly what they told him to do.
Sure.
Get the ball, find somebody close. Don't try to, don't try to Hail Mary it down the field. Don't try to be a hero. Just toss it to the closest guy that looks like you.
And he showed that can be a difficult thing to discern when you're in a hurry. I thought that guy was mine.
Yeah, but he didn't, because he didn't throw until the last play of the game. He didn't throw an interception.
Right. Pretty good.
Pretty
hard to avoid that when you're rusty.
Yeah, I thought that was a spectacular thing. He didn't throw an interception. He didn't. He played well enough to have them win.
And he's full of exuberance. It's always been his style. So it's kind of you catch on to his part of the game, and you're with him emotionally.
Yeah, he had. I thought that. It's funny because you're not going to root for somebody against your team, but you weren't rooting for him to fail.
Right.
Where a lot of times you'll root for another quarterback and you're not rooting for him. You're just rooting for him to fail. Nobody in that place was rooting for Philip Rivers to fail.
But they wanted the Colts to fail, because the Colts, as you witnessed, they're a dangerous team.
Yeah. And the Seahawks, they play an interesting game. They seem to not show up in the first half. This is the 3rd week in a row, maybe even the 4th week in a row, where they have just not presented anything in the first half.
The guys who called the game for Fox for CBS said that it was a sloppy first half for the Seahawks. And I don't know if I thought it was a frustrating first half. I didn't get to see the game, and it seemed to be it was muddy in terms of execution, throwing to wide receivers, advancing the ball, 3 and out. No, please, not another 3 and out. We can't have it.
Yeah, it just didn't. They weren't sharp, and again, it led me to believe, as I was sitting there watching it, at great seats, by the way, thanks to Mike Flood and Terry and Mark Collins.
Where were you sitting?
The 45-yard line.
Say no more.
And just first section up, and you couldn't. It just seemed like. It felt like that the Seahawks had just not taken us, look into next week. Look at the third. They have a short week. They got to be back out there on Thursday night.
Against the Rams.
They've already lost 1 game to the Rams. If they lose a second, it would seriously crimp their chances of
advancing.
Yeah, because they'd have to go on the road for almost anything that happened. So,
and they've been a more dangerous road team than they are at home. If I remember my year correctly.
Yeah, they've definitely been better on the road. So who knows? Maybe in a strange way it works to their advantage. But um, uh,
Yeah,
Sam
no.
Darnold has not looked sharp. Certainly not as sharp as you looked earlier in the year. Um, and I don't know if that's that he's getting tired. But if you're getting tired, just look at the Rivers. He was pushing shopping carts around a parking lot 2 weeks ago.
If you're tired and a little weary, take a look also at some of the quarterbacks that thought they had a good year on their hands, like Patrick Mahomes, great quarterback, had another day from hell yesterday. They were close. They could have won the game. They pulled within points. They couldn't pull it off. Mahomes gets hurt.
Hammy.
Balls are dropped. No advancement. Punt. You saw a long field goal. That's something you saw.
Yeah, was it a 52, 53 yarder, I think?
It was a 54, and then didn't one go for 60?
Yeah, the final one. Yeah. Matter of fact, that one happened to be right in front of me. So it was, and listen, that guy is. I'm not going to say that he's automatic. The field goal kicker for the Seahawks, but he's about damn close to it as you're going to get. And that's part of their charm is that you have a guy that if you need those 3 points, he's gonna get them for you.
You know
No
what
matter what.
happened to the Seahawks yesterday, and you probably heard it. There were boos from the crowd.
Yeah,
for
which
the end
I
of-
just
that's unusual.
well, that's sports today, Michael.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, that's sports today. That's what you as a player, you as a fan, and you as somebody who believes that you're supposed to be loyal to your team. That's the drill. If I mean, the perfect thing is what's going on with the Mets, and the fact that they let Pete Alonso go, they let Edwin Diaz go, and people aren't on social media sitting there reasoning out, well, what is the general manager going to do to make this team better now that he's lost these two gentlemen?
Is there a plan afoot?
Yeah, is there something that he's not telling us, nor is he required to tell us? Because it may have something to do with his plan. But people now think that they're every bit as smart. The same people who were smart enough to tell you not to wear a mask during COVID are now smart enough to tell you how to run a freaking football team.
Oh yeah.
And they're just so you have a group of these people who are down there on the 100 level yesterday, booing their own players, and
Who were going to stage a comeback and win the game? Keep in mind.
yeah, I'm sorry, but you just don't boo your own players unless something. I mean, nothing radical happened to say that. All right, somebody made a bonehead Merkel play, or somebody made some kind of stupid mistake, or something like that.
Drop ball in the secondary.
No, sorry. They weren't firing on all cylinders, which happens to a team over 17 games.
Did you think that the Seahawks were going to come back? Did you feel it?
Yeah. I figured somehow, some way, they were going to come back. The ladies that were sitting next to me had the same feeling. I turned to them at one point. It was this one woman's birthday, and I just looked at her and I said, halfway through the fourth quarter, I said, "Don't worry about it. It's your birthday. They'll bring it back for you. They're going to bring it home for you. Don't lose faith," which is something I always say. Don't lose faith, and they did. And when they scored and they defined the final score and they started gave the ball back and then the interception, I just turned to her and I said, "Happy birthday."
Not everyone walks away a satisfied customer, but you are going to be one.
Yeah, you got about as satisfied as you were going to get on a pretty nice Sunday afternoon in the middle of chaos that was all around us, flooded rivers and broken dams and silver threads and golden needles.
Good one. Good one. If you don't know what Vinnie's talking about, you can look up Dusty Springfield and the Springfields and let that be your introduction to that song.
Right. And didn't Linda Ronstadt do that as well? I don't know if she had a hit with it, but I believe it's on one of her albums.
I don't know if she recorded it, but I do want to say that I don't want your lonely mansion with a tear in every room. I do not want that.
There you go. Great. That's the wonderful thing about the rock and roll mind, is that it's able to recall things that should be way far away on the other side of town. And all of a sudden you find out that they're just right there in front of
you. At your fingertips when you need them.
All of a sudden it just pops into that little mush organ. It's between your ears, and there it goes. So with threads and golden needles.
Was it fun being with the Seahawks fans?
Yeah. Most of the games we've gone to in our lives have been press box games. When we started working in the business that we were so hopped up to work in, the rules are no cheering, no this, no that. I mean, every once in a while you get off or something like that. But if you want to cheer, you got to go outside of the press box and out to the stands, and which I tend to do every game I go to. I try to get out of the press box and go downstairs, and for at least an inning or half a quarter or some period of time, just stand, with the fans, and absorb that feeling of it. And yesterday was start to finish. We parked in the fan parking. We walked in. We stood in the plate. Matter of fact, it was funny. We stood hanging out, having some cocktails in the place where I used to do the pregame and the postgame show for the Seahawks.
History repeats.
Yeah, so it was very cool to be, again, just sitting there as a fan, just enjoying it. And nice to see people that that 30 years ago, and it's hard to believe that it is 30 years, but 30 years ago stopped this team from leaving town.
Had to be done.
Laid in front of tractor trailer trucks and said to Ken Behring, "You are not taking this team out of town.
You can take the desks.
Take the desks, take the equipment if you want to. All you're going to have is some desks and some equipment." We have a commissioner with somewhat of a backbone, and he's going to tell you Monday or Tuesday, don't do anything. Don't take you can take the desks and you can take the equipment, but you can't take the uniforms. You can't sell tickets. You can't do anything.
Your team plays in Seattle.
Yeah, and if you can't sell tickets and you have an NFL team, a large piece of your action is taken away from you. And that's what these people accomplished 30 years ago. They got the commissioner to stop Ken Behring from selling tickets or doing anything with the Seahawks other than moving physical pieces of cloth wood, and metal.
What did you see on the menu yesterday that was new and
Oh, Mike,
tempting?
I did something yesterday that I never did in my life before.
You
And
ate
I'm both
bugs
ashamed
and thrilled.
to say that I did it, and in some twisted, perverse way, thrilled to say I did it. I paid $13.50 for a slice of pizza.
Whoa. Whoa. That's not the kind you get on Broadway when you walk up to the window.
$13.50.
And was the wax paper extra?
Oh no, they served it to you on a paper plate, like a chinette, but no wax paper.
Hmm.
Um,
How was
and
the pizza? The pizza was
I gotta say that the pizza wasn't bad for ballpark pizza. Now I'm sure that pizza is not the same pizza that I would have got if I would have went downstairs to the to one of the stands on the concourse. Maybe I would
or
have paid $11 for that
break
slice of
into
pizza.
Harry M. Stevens' apartment and water his ferns for him.
Oh, I remember the Harry M. Stevens pizza. It used to come in a box. The Harry M. Stevens pizza used to come. It was the drive-in movie frozen pizza
Oh dear.
that the cheese was put on in layers, not in spring.
Shaved cheese.
Yeah, shaved cheese. Yeah, it was just no, and so um it was a decent piece of pizza.
So
Again,
Seattle crowds have traditionally been tough. They can be tough, but you at least got to walk to your car or the ghost of FX McCoy's with a relatively happy crowd. They weren't miserable. They didn't lose. They just didn't win the way they wanted to.
right, and parking was good. We parked. Norb knows how to get in and out of this. They've made getting in and out of the stadium, actually, the parking garage, not so bad. It wasn't the horrific log jam that I thought it was going to be. So it was actually a pretty easy in and out to get into the parking garage and to get out of the parking garage. Now, granted, we hung out for an hour after the game at least. Because there was a couple of Seahawk. There was actually a Seahawk hoodie that I was looking at, saying, "Well, this would look good on me." But luckily, they didn't have my size, so I was, and it was funny because the price of the hoodie was not like overly, it wasn't outrageous. So, I guess, but I was saved from myself, thank God. By the time that the guy handed me the slip of paper that said, "Well, you can find it online in your size here," I wasn't that interested anymore.
Yeah.
So,
The impulse buy had gone by.
right, they've managed to take the impulse out of impulse buying, which is, I'm sure, good for a lot of people. You know, uh, but it was now what is really great about this group of people is Mark Collins, and I don't know if you remember Mark, but he was the guy that headed up to Save Our Seahawks thing. Mark is not a half stepper when it comes to bringing the goods. Now, a couple of years ago, they used to have a buffet in this club, it's the Delta Sky Club, and they used to have a buffet. You could go up to the buffet and you could grab chips. And, it wasn't anything special, but it was something. You're paying thousands of dollars for a season ticket. They may as well feed you.
And you're
So,
lucky.
but a couple of years ago, they took the buffet away.
Oh dear.
And Mark said that to himself and to his many friends that are there. Well, I'll just bring stuff. And so Mark loads up a couple of bags with chips and dips and, stuff. Again, nothing outrageous except for the fruit that he brings in for his drinks.
Make
But
smoothies.
he does a nice, and I don't know if you saw the drink that I posted that he makes, but he makes this incredibly uh, fantastic drink that has shrimp and fruit and vegetables, and I mean it's an otherworldly thing.
Shrimp and fruit and vegetable.
Yeah, I got to. I'm going to try to find what do you call it, the
Recipe.
picture. No, I don't know that there's a recipe for this drink. To be honest with you, Michael, I'm not sure that there's any kind of recipe for this drink. I think this is a drink that one concocts in their mind and kind of goes by it with the sense of let's see what fits where, and will not tip the glass over. I think that's the
They don't use salamanders at all in the making of this.
well, there was some bugs walking around, and there was some
Yeah,
lizards walking around. So I'm not
I thought
100%
so.
sure that there wasn't something scary in the process of this.
Could have been a salamander.
And
Might have been a newt.
yeah, a newt with an eye of newt. It was without a doubt. I don't know. It was just scary. But okay, I don't know why it's not. Anyway, I'll see if I can get it up in a second. But I don't know. Let me see if I can. But it's certainly a drink that anyway. So anyway, Mark brings bags of stuff and loads up the table with stuff. Uh, so nobody goes hungry. There was some one guy, one of the group, brought smoked salmon that he had smoked at home.
It's
Somebody
always
else
good.
brought some homemade dip. Somebody else brought uh, uh, I forget some kind of fruit mix that might have been able to be turned into a frozen fruit. I think they were going to bring their that machine that turns things into slush, but I don't think they allow you to bring electronic machines into the stadium.
I wouldn't. I'd be surprised if they didn't say you can't bring this food in here.
Well,
We can't.
I was actually kind of a little taken aback by that too because, but I guess they have bomb sniffing dogs. You have to have your car sniffed when you come into the stadium, which it's a funny thing. There was a time, and I remember when they first started doing this that I don't know if you did this also, but I think I was like, our freedoms are eroding, our bomb sniffing dogs. What are they doing to us as Americans? And yada, yada, yada. And now it's like, I'm mad if they don't sniff the car. I'm looking at it if they don't sniff the car and say, well, what are you doing? You're supposed to be looking, checking, seeing what's,
Use your imagination.
yeah, you know, I'm not, I'm not against that as I used to be. Let's see if we can this up in here. Yeah, there is. If you look closely, there's a trick under there.
Oh yes.
See that 50 glass, that 50th anniversary of the Seahawks glass,
Uh huh.
right
Very
there.
nice.
And then there's shrimp.
Crab
And there
legs.
are peppers and onions.
Let's
The
see. You see
olives.
lettuce. I see celery and looks like the green vegetable that turns your urine orange. Uh,
olives right there. Did I point those out?
I
Pimentos
love
in the
olives.
olives.
Love them.
Yeah, there's quite a bunch of asparagus is right up
That's
there.
it.
That
Aspergrass.
yeah, many people say that this is a drink that Jamie Oliver would have been quite proud of.
Nate
I
McMillan
don't
might
know.
have endorsed it.
Yeah, that's just a drink that that you would look at. You would just go, "Geez, really?"
It
I
may have.
and
It's not a
the
simple
thrill.
drink.
No, the thrill of the day for me was trying to watch him drink it
Yeah. But see you
because
drink that, and I
again,
want to watch.
yeah, you can't. I mean, you have to get a straw. You can't drink it any other way, but with a straw. I mean, you can't hold that thing up to your lips and go at it. So, however you go at it, it's going to present the problem to you, unless you start to disassemble it from the top down. But it draws attention. I mean, more people come over and look at that thing and ask the magical question, "What the hell is that?"
I have a question for you. Do the
Yes.
TV timeouts, when you're watching the game in person in the stadium, do the TV timeouts seem as long as they do on TV, or do they just seem like that's the pace of the game?
Huh, interesting question. I don't know if, to be honest with you, I don't know if I paid that much attention as to what the TV timeouts did. No, I don't know that I paid that much attention to them. A matter of fact, I probably couldn't have told you which one was a TV timeout and which one was a regular timeout because when there was a timeout, I either spoke to uh, these wonderful women that were sitting next to me, uh, three just really hilarious, really fun. I mean, these three women came to the game to have fun. They were three, somewhat old, not old women, but older women, and they were there to have fun. They got a day off from their husbands or whatever it was that they were taking a day off from, and they were there to enjoy themselves.
Well, I salute them.
Yeah, no, it was a really nice thing to see, and they knew their football too. As a matter of fact, the woman even remarked to me at some point. She says she had said that uh, I was one of the first people they had sat next to all season that didn't tell them to shut up
Oh, wow.
uh, because they would mention something about something, a play or something like that, and some guys would, lean into them or look at them or whatever and act as if they didn't know what the hell they were talking about when they seemed to know their football pretty well. Certainly better than some of the referees knew it when it came to face mask violations and things like that.
The funny thing I've noticed about female football fans is they care about the players getting hurt. They often will root for the wrong team because they needed some support. They needed someone to love them. They needed someone to be on their side so they could advance and play good football. And there was a friend of mine named Susan K, Skippy K, and she called them her boys. Whenever there was a NFL game on, she would watch her boys. And I said, well, what's your team? And she would just name individual players from every team. Oh, this guy, this guy, this guy. They're all my boys. And I noticed that was something that male sports fans do not participate in.
Quite the opposite.
They're more judgmental. They'll be the ones who boo. They'll be the ones who are upset with the coach's decision. Get
Yeah.
rid of him. Get him out. Fire him.
We're
Get
hoping
this son of a
somebody
bitch.
steps on his balls.
Well,
As opposed to,
that could happen. Watch out. That's all I'm going to say.
yeah, as opposed to sending somebody out to help a guy. They want to see him further injured. Um, but that's the game. I mean, that's the game. Especially if you're a bit older, the game wasn't always about helping the other guy up. The game was about knocking him on his ass and making sure he doesn't get up for a few plays.
And
And then when he does get up,
one team of that mindset that comes to mind is the Raiders, who lost 31-0, and it was like they didn't even show up. It was very
well,
weird. Max
yeah,
Crosby after the game looked ashen. He looked like he had seen a ghost. He was inconsolable and angry, and I don't blame him, but in the same breath, I do blame him because all the Raiders contributed to that game.
well, I don't want to say that the game has passed Pete Carroll by. And I'm not close enough to the situation to be able to say, well, he doesn't have this and doesn't have that and doesn't have this and that and the other thing. I just don't know. But it certainly looks like there's a level of disinterest on the part of the players and the coaching staff and the owners of the team and everybody else that should have Al Davis flipping around in his grave.
Well,
Not a pretty picture for them.
I look at the ridiculous haircut he has, and he presents himself as someone who's not quite all there. There's not a full banana in the box, or whatever other description you want to use. But Mark Davis does not look like he should be in charge of a football team.
Yeah, I've seen a couple interviews with him, and I'd have to kind of agree with you. I'd have to kind of say that this is coming to a point where, maybe they ought to just take the money and run.
Well, that they still are capable of doing.
Oh yeah, but they won't because it's if they sell that team, what do they have left besides money?
Yeah, they got a stadium and a reputation and a interesting management structure where they are peace holders of the whole.
The black hole. And they got that bar in Oakland, the Ricky Ricardo's place.
Yeah.
That's
the real deal.
That's the real deal. It's been the real deal since 1967, since his father owned it. They might not have that anymore. But it's a shame because it's the stories of Al Davis and the Raiders and the relationship between the fans and the team and
John Vella and Phil Villapiano.
Yeah. John Madden and
Jim Plunkett, for that matter.
And just it wasn't a football team as much as it was a city engrossed and involved in a group of players that played there.
It was like a lineup.
Yeah, you remember the guys from 14 Carats. I mean, they lived in one of the old Raiders' houses, and you'd go up there and you'd talk to people in that neighborhood. And they would tell you the stories, the incredible stories of cars pulling up there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning with entire bars stuffed into the back of a Cadillac.
Yeah.
And, what things change. So it was, yeah, it was, yeah, the Raiders are just a shadow of their former selves. But you know what? The people that love that team love them with an abandon that is fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta give them credit. Many of the fans of that team will never disrupt their love of that team.
Well, the upcoming game, the Thursday night short week game with the Rams and the Seahawks, is going to present a challenge because the Rams scored 41 points against a tough team, too. Tough team as well. The Seahawks had difficulty scoring any points and didn't present as a team that will always be a good bet to score when they're in the red zone. A touchdown, I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not the way they didn't look that way last night. They didn't
No,
look
I
dangerous.
remember Friday us saying that, or I was saying that this team looked like they were pretty much ready to challenge for a slot in the Super Bowl,
Well, they
and
got
they
a good
certainly did
defense.
not look like that on Sunday, which leads me to believe that that's a reason why they they'll have a comeback game here, because I don't think that this team is as bad as it looked on Sunday. Um, I think they'll have a game that people will look at them and say, these guys, don't take your money off them quite yet. Leave your money
So
on the table.
if you're out with Rod Long and Mike Gastineau and the gang, where do the boys go afterwards that takes the place of FX McCoy's? Is there a walking distance to an agreed upon watering hole?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we didn't go. We pretty much we stayed in that club and hung out there because it was just not a lot of walking. And both myself and Rod, I should say, are not really good at the walking. Rod has been through the mill with his cancer treatments that he went through a couple of years ago, and he's still not up to where he should be, and I certainly have my difficulties walking. So for us, it was much more comfortable to just stay where we were and hang, you know, and and uh, and there was a lot of people hanging. It wasn't just us. I mean, it was a group of people, and you could sit there and hang out and enjoy. There is, the Occidental, which is the street next to the ballpark.
Yes.
There, that street that goes from Safeco or whatever it is all the way up to King Street. It becomes kind of a plaza, and so several hot dog wagons and food trucks and this and that. So there's a couple of breweries that are in there. A couple of I guess you could buy these cocktails in a cup, in a not a glass. It's like a tin.
Can.
Yeah, cocktails in a can, I guess. So you can get those. There's nothing is in McCrory's in that space, nor should I hope that there will never be. As a matter of fact, if anything, and I was thinking this yesterday.
Build it back.
Um, I thought that, and I do think that, I wish that would become the site of the Puget Sound Sports Hall of Fame. that ground floor in that building is big enough, and it's a space that would lend itself and has such juju in it that you could take the plaques of the people that you want to honor in a Puget Sound Sports Hall of Fame and put them in that building and have people walk through and look at it and show games and show, do the things that they do in these, I don't want to say lesser halls of fame, but, a place for sports fans to go before and after a game. If I had an extra million lying around, a 2 million lying around, I'd probably do it. I think it's a great, I think it's a
Great
not just
ground.
I had it, but it's that's hallowed ground in
Yes.
Seattle sports history. They've taken away the other hallowed grounds that we have. They're rebuilding Memorial Stadium at the Seattle Center. There's just I don't know, there's just not a feeling that there's a place where the sports fan can go and feel tied into the history. Whereas at that ground floor of FX McCrory's has everything happened there. The celebrations after the team.
White tiles of mystery.
Yeah, everything everything happened in that place. There was always some kind of some kind of event going on there.
And
was
remind me of the name of the owner.
Mick McHugh.
Thank you.
Mick McHugh. Mick and his sister Bud and other people in their family. As a matter of fact, I just saw a notice that said that Mick was closing one of his other places, T.S. McHugh's, which is over by right on Mercer Street in Lower Queen Anne there, where it was a good place to go get a steak, to go before a Sonics game, to the drinks were poured liberally, and the place was just a place that was a place to gather before a game. And the teams, I think, have done as much as they can to get these types of places out of there, because they didn't charge them the kind of money that they were charging them inside the arena to get that, to sell them drinks, watered down drinks.
Just think about the economic footprint of that game and the participants and the management and the crowd and all the first responders, everybody who's there, because they have to be there, what the dollar figure is, and on the cash register that totals up the spending bucks for everybody who's there that day.
And the city was ready to let it go. The city was well, we don't really need this. I mean, we have a hall of science that brings in people. Not like this place. I've never seen a hall of science bring in people like this place. But I think I think if there's anything that happens with that FX McCrory site, that ought to be what happens to it. I don't know if there's enough. I mean, there should be enough people in this town that want to put something like that together. And I think the time is right to do it before, we're not getting any younger. And having gone through the Bohai last week, which is the kind of the meat and potatoes museum of the city of Seattle. It tells the story from much more working person perspective than many of the other arenas around here. Um, and I think that this is something. Um, it's funny. It's funny that you brought it up because I've been thinking about this over the last year. As I've driven by there a number of times, and you look and you see, we wanted to get a couple of years ago. We were trying to get Occidental Street renamed in honor of Paul Allen. We were trying to get it named Paul Allen Boulevard or Paul Allen Place or
Allen's Alley.
say again.
Allen's Alley.
Yeah, I think we wanted. I think we were thinking along the lines of something a little bit more, Paul Allen Boulevard or something like that. Something that, Allen's Alley kind of. It didn't. I don't know if that would ring the same. Although not a bad idea, but something to signify and honor the people that jumped into action back in the 90s and kept it from all going away. And there's a lot
It was
of people,
close because it was close.
people do not realize how close it was. And there was some really um, interesting times in that. And because you were in on it, and I was, and Gas, and Mitch, and all of these different people were as close to it as you could get. And the people that it always makes me laugh because there's so many people who now go to these games and they cheer and they wear all the stuff. And some of the same people who back in 1995 and 1996 were running around saying, well, let them get out of town. Who cares?
Right. That was the attitude of the Go Seahawks crowd. Who cares? Nobody loves this team. It's not we're not responsible for taking care of them. There's no care and feeding resolve. We're distant from the owners. They don't play in a good facility. What's to save? Why should we save this team?
Right. Exactly. This is a guy from California. Why should we move and really people forget that it wasn't until John Nordstrom actually jumped in and said, I'm going to start pulling strings here. But if you had that spot on the corner of where so many of the meetings happened and so many of the rallies and the original Save Our Seahawks rallies and stuff happened on that corner. And of course the Save Our Sonics rally and things that happened, even though that one was not successful, because I think people had been by that time were maxed out on building,
and they were suspicious of people's motives.
Well, they were just yeah. I think there was a lot of suspicion, a lot of people who said, "Wait a minute, didn't we just redo Key Arena 2 years ago? What are we doing now?" So,
asking you to build another arena.
Yeah, we'd like you to build something else for us now. And I think that the people drew the line and said that that's something that we'd like to not see anymore. So
with all the headlines, why don't we give them a rest and vow to meet here on a Wednesday, if it's a wacky Wednesday?
Yes, why don't we? Why don't we get together, meet on a Wednesday, and this particular coming up Wednesday, and we'll continue the discussions and falderall. It seems to be a Mikey and Vinnie show every time we put this thing on the air.
I'm glad that the falderall is being included this time officially.
Well, yeah. What's Wednesday if you can't get a falderall going?
My point exactly. Good job, Ben.
Michael, it's always a pleasure. I know that we've clocked in an hour and change here this morning, so we gave him a little extra. We didn't get started on time, but we gave him a little bit extra. So
What do you want out of show business?
there's no business like it.
Like no business, I know. Everything about it is appealing.
Really,
that's a bit of a stretch, but it's written right down there.
Everything about it is appealing until you get down to the things that should really be appealing, and you can't get them straightened out. All right, Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. We'll see you on Wednesday morning at 10:10 or thereabouts. Oh, by the way, before we go, one thing, and I know we have a chunk of people listening now. We are very close to a mark on our YouTube channel. We need about 25 people to subscribe to our station. So if you are not subscribed to us at Golden V Media,
please do us this favor.
Go there and subscribe to us. We need you. If you would like to see this thing keep coming, if you can, just go and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. And you receive innumerable benefits from it. It's a club that you don't need a membership card to be in, but a club that will bring you psychic, cosmic benefits far beyond that known to mortal man.
I think that's undeniable. I think people suspect that right from the beginning.
Well, do it because we need you. So please go to us right there. You can probably see. Subscribe on YouTube at Golden V Media. Go there and subscribe to us, and we promise you the things you get in return. You'll write us a letter and say, "Damn, Mikey and Vinnie, I never knew it could be like this."
I was thrilled and delighted. Thank you for another great show.
So on that note, we'll give it a peace, a love, and Manischewitz.
And I'll tell you now, from experience, it's quite a wine.
What a wine. See you Wednesday, Mikey. See you all Wednesday, too. Thank you so much for listening to us. Don't forget, tell your friends, go, subscribe. We want to hit that mark by the next time we see you on Wednesday morning. Bye-bye. Take care, Mikey. Be well.
See you, Ben.